Drive. Today we test ride the world's first CNG motorcycle. Catch up with Tata Motors design head Martin Ullrich at the design studio in Birmingham, and we find out how much fun the Suzuki V-Strom DE800 actually is. Hello and welcome to Overdrive, your weekly dose of everything from the world of auto. I am Soini Dutt. Now, armed with a 2 kg compressed natural gas cylinder as well as a 2-liter petrol tank, the Bajaj Freedom is the most fuel-efficient motorcycle you can get in the country as well as the world today. Now, is this the natural progression for commuter motorcycles? Let's find out.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the new Bajaj Freedom, the motorcycle that's created quite a buzz online of late, and of course it is creating quite a stir in the 125cc commuter motorcycle space, primarily because this is the world's first motorcycle that actually runs on compressed natural gas. You heard that right, CNG. There's a 2 kg tank for that CNG storage just here under the seat, and you also have a 2-liter tank right here. It does run on 2 types of fuel, and of course it promises to take sustainable mobility to a different level altogether. Exactly how effective is it out on the road? We are about to find out. Up front you get an LED headlight, a front disc brake, and even some Bluetooth connectivity to answer calls and for some SMS alerts with the top spec model. The lower model shed the disc brake, LED headlamp and the Bluetooth function, and instead feature a drum brake and halogen headlamp. You have chunky looking Eurogrip tyres on the 17-inch front and 16-inch rear. The smaller rear wheel is on account of Bajaj not wanting to compromise on suspension travel. There are these plastic panels on the front fork which add some meat to the front end, and it seems to bode rather well with the slightly bulbous tank section which houses the 2 litres of petrol on the right hand side and the airbox on the left. Pop open the fuel lid and you'll see that both the petrol and CNG fueling caps are neatly integrated under there. Atop the handlebar with its simplistic but durable feeling switchgear is the neatly laid out reverse LCD display that shows off the time, speed, gear position, trip with consumption readings and CNG fuel level reading. But this fuel level reading goes blank when you switch to petrol. There are also indicator lights that sit atop that show you what fuel the engine is running on as well. Moving behind, you have a rather long but flat 785mm bench seat which could, although not ideal or safe, seat 3 up easily. Beneath the seat you have the 2 kg tank nestled within the trellis frame, which acts as a protective cage for this tank. The single 125cc engine is a stress member in this ordeal and is horizontally laid out to optimize space. There's a belly pan which adds to the rugged appearance of the bike as well. At the rear of the motorcycle, there are a couple of bolts near the tail lamp that allow you to dismantle the entire tail section and allow you to service or replace the CNG tank when unscrewed. Now, one of the outstanding bits about the Freedom has to be the design. I mean, not only is its style really nice, but then again, when you think, okay, 1,50,000 rupees on road for this top end variant, well, you think, okay, fine, Bajaj may have cut some corners somewhere, which they have in fact, but then it really doesn't go to show because all the work that has been done on this motorcycle has been thoughtfully executed, and the fit and finish level is really good. It's top notch on this one. So a commuter motorcycle that looks neat and tidy is always a good thing, right? But as always, the defining points of any commuter motorcycle are its rate of running efficiency and the level of ride comfort it provides. Now, this would be the first time I'd be filling up any vehicle with CNG, and the first time the pump attendants would be filling up a CNG-powered motorcycle, let alone actually seeing one. So it was a new and exciting experience for everyone involved. Yeah, so we've been riding the Bajaj Freedom for around 98 kilometers now in the city, and yesterday when we tanked up completely, although it's a 2 kg tank, well, it just managed to fill around 1.82 kgs of CNG in the tank completely because, well, it depends on the pressure at the pump. So yes, we've been running around the city for around 98 kilometers now, and it's time to fill up and get an estimate of what the mileage figure is all about. Now, considering a speedo and trip error, we estimate the mileage to be around 75 to 80 kilometers per kg of compressed natural gas, and we estimate that number to rise while riding efficiently out on the highway. Thankfully, everyone was so fascinated and curious seeing the new CNG Bajaj bike that they all let me skip the line and tank up right away. Not so sure if this would be the case in the months to come when the bike has been around for a while and people are used to seeing them about the place. So there's the question about that. Now that we have tanked up the Bajaj Freedom once again, we have a indication of what the mileage figure is all about, at least as far as the city is concerned, because we have been running around in the city a couple of days, and yep, now it has given them back a mileage of around 75 kilometers per kg, and that is really impressive, because if you consider the fact that if you have a 125cc ICE motorcycle, you can expect a mileage figure of around 50 to 60 depending on how you ride. But then again, this one 75 on a single kg, and that too the cost of 1 kg of CNG is around 73.5 rupees. So yes, all things considering, very impressed by the mileage figure of the Bajaj Freedom. And out on the highway, well, that number is just going to rise. While testing for petrol efficiency, we saw that the Freedom ran 50 kilometers to a litre of petrol. So it would be safe to assume that this bike is capable of running over 250 kilometers after combining the CNG and petrol average figures. Now the main difference here is the cost of petrol and CNG. Now petrol currently costs Rs 103.44 per litre in Mumbai and Rs 73.5 per kg of CNG. So if you compare the Freedom to a regular ICE 125cc commuter motorcycle, which would give you around 50 kilometers per litre, well, you'd spend around 517 rupees to cover 250 kilometers. Whereas with the Freedom, you'd technically be spending about Rs 147 on 2 kgs of CNG and around 206.8 on petrol to cover the same distance before running both tanks dry. So theoretically, you'd save around 163 rupees every 250 kilometers, which may not seem like a world-breaking number at first, but once you add it up over the years and kilometers that you'll be riding this one around, the amount of money that you'll end up saving is pretty substantial. So from our quick fuel efficiency test, we see that the Freedom is in fact the most fuel efficient 125cc motorcycle there ever was. So surely an engine of this efficiency must lack power, right? Well, the answer is a surprising and resounding no. And that's considering the motorcycle's basic kilometer crunching, commuter focused standpoint, of course. This is the first time Bajaj have actually come out with a horizontal layout for their single cylinder engines. And of course, it has mostly to do with the entire throttle body, the mapping, and of course, the layout as far as spacing is concerned. So now this engine makes around 9.5 PS of max power, 9.7 Nm of max torque, and obviously there are different throttle maps for your CNG and your petrols. Both maps are laid out to give you access to around the same amount of power. And out here on the road, at least at sea level, I didn't really feel a shortage of power at any point. Not even on the inclines that we came across in the city. Once you astride the Freedom, you are going to be roaming around town with a CNG tank under your posterior. Now, that of course is going to be alarming for many people, but then again, Bajaj have shown us that they have taken extreme measures to make sure that the CNG tank and of course you remain safe at all times. They have ridden a multi-axle truck over this bike and nothing has happened. The Freedom weighs in at 149 kg with a full tank of CNG contributing to around 17 kg of that number. It feels nice and light for the city and weighs up just about alright on the highway too. But what's better is this motorcycle seat, which gives you all the room you need to move around and make yourself comfy on long stints in the saddle. Bajaj have really done an outstanding job with this configuration, with the way this motorcycle is set up, because it doesn't end just at efficiency. The way this motorcycle is set up in terms of fit and finish levels, the ergonomics, the seat, it's all thoroughly thought through and well executed, and that's what Bajaj deserve a good pat on the back for. 1.5 lakh rupees on road. Well, this makes a very convincing package, and if you are in the market for a 125cc commuter, this should very well be the motorcycle that you should be looking at.
Well, the Freedom isn't just an experimental one-off motorcycle from Bajaj Auto. They do have plans to launch a few more motorcycles in the coming months with different displacements. We are pretty excited to find out what Bajaj Auto has in store for us. For now, though, let's press pause, take a break, and come right back, because on the other side, we catch up with Martin Ulrich, the head of design at Tata Motors, to know more about the Tata Curve.